only mid-April, but wildfire season already on the minds of lawmakers, officials, and meteorologists. Tonight, we're on your side digging into developments in Salem and on the ground that could impact how this year's season shapes up. We have team coverage tonight. Allison Gottliebers diving into drought conditions in Oregon, and they've hit a new milestone.
Meteorologist Dave Selesky is tracking wildfire season and the outlook. We start with Vasily Varlamov speaking to lawmakers about an effort to repeal the controversial wildfire hazard risk map. The map sets stricter rules and regulations on high-risk wildfire areas. Vasily, one lawmaker calls the map unworkable.
Yes, Democratic State Senator Jeff Golden says that the map fails to factor in the individual needs of property owners and that it's really disrupting the unity we need to mitigate fires in our state. Rural Oregonians unhappy with the wildfire hazard map since its creation in 2021.
I heard from folks across the state about just how fearful they were that the wildfire maps were going to force them out of their homes.
The map designating high-risk wildfire areas across the state, impacting over 100,000 properties. Those in high-risk areas would be subject to stricter building codes and require defensible space upgrades. Senator Jeff Golden, chair of the Committee on Natural Resources, says the map is too broad of an approach and does not account for the needs of individual property owners.
The problem was we went with a design that only factored in landscape large dynamics and had no factoring at all of the specific characteristics of the individual property.
Senator Golden says the original bill created several new programs that have improved fire mitigation in our state, except for one hiccup. I asked Senator Golden if it's acceptable to call the map a mistake.
Do you think it's acceptable to say that the wildfire hazard maps were a mistake?
Let me think about that. I think the idea of having a map to know where to put resources, I think that's sound. I think reliance on a model, which may be state-of-the-art, but doesn't take into consideration at all the characteristics on a specific property, and then calls that property high hazard, that was a mistake.
The bill will go to the Senate floor for a vote. The lawmakers I spoke to expect this bill to pass. Live in Salem, Vasily Varlamov, K2 News.
Vasily, thank you. Here's a breakdown of the entire ordeal. Oregon repealed the original wildfire map in 2022 after backlash from property owners. A revamped version was released in July of 2024. The state finalized that one at the start of this year after addressing some of the criticism and clarifying hazard zones. Then in February, Governor Kotek stepped in to stop the appeals process to keep legal fees from piling up while lawmakers consider changes. If no changes are made, the appeals process will pick back up in July.
The Oregon Department of Forestry and Oregon State University created this wildfire risk map. We reached out to both for their reaction to the efforts to repeal it. ODF says it can't comment on pending legislation. It says any decision will not affect their wildfire response or resources. We'll update you when we hear back from OSU.